live to you from Boston, Massachusetts. It's Cruise Boss and Cruising Holden from the Cruise&Cocoa show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Cruise&Cocoa show. I am Cruise Boss. Hold my picture muted.
And my name is Cruising Holden.
Yeah, and we have some really good news for you today. So starting off with our first news, a river pilot fell to his death earlier this month while boarding a Princess cruise ship in Nagasaki. I'm very sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
I believe it's Nagasaki.
Oh, well, I can't pronounce anything.
But let's stop the upbeat background music for this story because I hate when we have to cover these kinds of things because it's always very sad. But when a river pilot was boarding or deboarding a ship, I believe he fell off when he was on the ladder
because the pilot boat kind of shook. It got rocked by some waves and he slipped.
Yep, he was climbing the ladder.
And he had been doing this for 20 years. So he is really good at his job.
So our hearts and my thoughts go out to him and his families, and this is always a very sad story.
Yeah. And for our next news, which is not as sad, Disney Cruise Line's Disney Magic has emerged from renovations with a newly themed lounge and a new family experience.
Wow, this sounds very cool, actually. I love when ships get a revamp, except when they do something bad to it. But it's really cool when they add new things, venues, and it's just awesome to see.
Yeah. And our next news is the Queen Mary Hotel in Long Beach has reopened to overnight guests as the former ocean liner turned into a floating hotel and event center has been shut down since March of 2020.
Yeah, so the Queen Mary Hotel, which if you are also on the creepier side of YouTube, you'll probably see like the scary haunted ship videos on that ship. But due to COVID and also some really bad maintenance issues, they actually were scared the ship might just fall apart. The ship was closed, but luckily, now that COVID's pretty much like we're getting good, they decided to open it back up. And also, they have fixed some of the maintenance issues and all that bad stuff they were having. And now the hotel is back open for guests.
Yeah. And for our next news, for the first time ever, Princess Cruises will be homeporting in Port Canaveral, Florida.
Yes, so earlier this week, Princess Cruises announced that they are actually going to be homeporting in Port Canaveral. It's really cool. They've never had a ship sail out of Port Canaveral, so it was awesome to see that they are doing ships out of Port Canaveral. I'm not quite sure of the itineraries yet, but soon they will be having a ship sailing out of Port Canaveral.
Yeah, and before we continue with our news, I just want to talk a little bit about Cruise Central.
Cruise Central is the newest cruise booking site on Earth. With the filling out of one form, you can have your full cruise booked just for you, with excursions, dining, and everything you need already planned. For more info, just head to the Cruise Central website linked on both of our channels and get your cruise booked today.
Yeah, that was really good, Holden. Thanks. And now continuing with our news, a passenger on a Royal Caribbean ship the Harmony of the Seas was arrested after putting a spy camera in a public bathroom near the Flow Rider with over 150 photos of passengers on the camera.
Yes, this is actually quite disgusting that people would even go this far to do things like this. It just grosses me out thinking that some dirty old man decided that it would be fun to put a camera in the bathroom. He had photos of children, he had photos of adults, he had photos of seniors. It's just disgusting to hear this story, and I never won this, and I hope this man gets arrested or
He
gets
was.
yeah, he did. I remember. But I hope he learned his lesson, and this is just disgusting that people in
So the
this world would
story of this
go out of their
basically,
way to do this.
so story is basically a passenger was in the bathroom and saw it, reported to security. Security then took it down and detained him until they got to a port, and he was then arrested.
Yeah, it's very sad that they even had to do this. No one in this world, you just shouldn't have to worry about there being cameras in bathrooms and that sort. But I hope this is an occurrence that will never happen again.
Yeah. And for our next news, Norwegian Cruise Line has opened its Giving Joy Teacher Appreciation Contest, which runs through June 9th. You can nominate your favorite teacher to win a free cruise.
Yeah, now we're heading over to a happier story. This is an amazing fund, not really fund, but you can give your teacher a free cruise. You just sign your teacher up and they can be on the list to win a free cruise. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And a Carnival Cruise Line guest swallowed a battery and had to get airlifted by the U.S. Coast Guard on Saturday after the ship left port. How do you actually just swallow a battery?
Yeah,
There's a battery in their mouth.
Yeah, this is a very funny story, and I do hope it gets a follow-up so we can kind of find out how the man is and actually what happened to get this battery in his mouth. And I was also wondering, is this a very big battery, like one of the ones that you put in like a AAA or something?
I don't know if you can swallow a D battery.
Yeah. Well, if it's a bigger AAA or if it's just a little I know my grandpa on his side table has little hearing aid batteries the size of
Those
a
tiny
thumbtack. So I was just curious if maybe he swallowed a big real battery that you put in things like walkie-talkies, toys, all that stuff, or if it was just a little thing. But needless to say, it's still very
still a battery. A sailing on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas has once again been oversold and overbooked due to an unexpected inventory error.
I'm sorry, Royal Caribbean. I can't stand this story anymore. It's not unexpected anymore. It's very expected. This has happened, over 10 times this year?
It's happening way too much.
Yeah, Royal, this is happening way too much. It's no longer unexpected. It is very expected. So, yeah.
So Carnival Venezia will feature a new to Carnival Italian specialty restaurant.
Yeah, so as you know, this is part of the Costa by Carnival little spiel that they're doing, and it is going to be a new Italian restaurant on board. There's not much more to this story. I don't know what the menu looks like. Well, I'm guessing it's Italian food, obviously, but I'm not too much sure about this story. But it's pretty cool that they'll be adding another restaurant to their newest addition to their Costa by Carnival fleet.
Yeah. The brand new Nassau Cruise Port has a grand opening day in May, and it is going to be attracting so many more people to Nassau, Bahamas, and people might actually get off their ship.
Yeah, Nassau, Bahamas is one of those kind of ports where it's pretty much just one and done.
It's go there once and you're not getting off again. You want your time on the ship.
Yeah, so you kind of go there.
You're there and you're just done with it.
Yeah, you can explore the port and stuff, but it's kind of one of those ports where you go a second time and there's not much to do. Also, it's definitely not the best port. There's a lot of pickpocketers and sorts, and just some not great things going on in that area right now. But luckily, they have fixed up the cruise port and the port area, and now they're going to be having a very nice port, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. There is a new ship in Florida that U.S. citizens can't sail on, as Mariella Discovery home ports in Port Canaveral for the summer. As this is a British Cruise Lines ship, it actually says on their website, American cruisers are not legally allowed on board.
Yeah, this
I
story's
am very confused because it's
yeah.
reporting in an American port.
Yep, it's
So it's a
very
really
weird.
confusing story.
And also, how do they know? Can I just put on a British accent and they'll let me on?
Yeah,
I
wait.
don't.
Well, you have to have your passport.
Well, yes, like obviously, there's definitely other things, but like, it's just a very weird story that a
So
British
what are they
ship.
going to do? Just like kick you off the ship? It's
Yeah,
really confusing.
it's a very weird story, and why would they home port in the U.S. if U.S. citizens can't go on? Well, don't ask me, because I have no idea.
Yeah. And for our next news, Norwegian Cruise Line is returning to Japan. The first time the brand will set sail there from there in over 3 years.
Yeah, this is awesome. They are going to be having a ship sailing itineraries in Japan, and they have not gone there since the start of not the start of COVID, but like before COVID. So I'm quite excited to see them heading back to this area, as it is just awesome when it's like just one step closer for cruising to be like officially back. It's pretty much just normal cruising. If I lived on Mars and no one had told me about COVID, I would just think it was just normal. So I'm very glad to see that cruises is like more getting back, and that they're doing itineraries they couldn't have done.
Yeah. And for our next news, there was some more news released about the MSC Seaside, which failed an inspection, which we actually had talked about last week. Holden, would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure, so some more news about the MSC Seaside has been released. Last week, the MSC Seaside failed an inspection. Ooh, that was a tongue twister for sure. And we've gotten some more news about why it failed the inspection and other things. So let me just quickly go over some of the reasons. One of them was that there were flies in the kitchen area and cooking areas. The next was that there was no clearly marked pool depth or things like that. There was bathrooms without soap, and there was other things like that. They're definitely not the biggest things, but when you add up all of the things that did happen, um, we don't really. It's like there are a lot of little things that added up into a big thing.
That is disgusting.
Yeah, there wasn't flies in the food. They were just flying around the kitchen.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't even really wash any of their stuff. Like for food.
Oh yeah, they did find dirty plates that had stains on them that were being given to people. So
Yeah, and then they also found a crew member touching raw meat and then going into a storage area.
yep.
They
So
were
there's
really unsanitary.
yeah. Um, and it is actually just these inspections are surprise inspections. They're not planned because if they are planned, the cruise line would just quickly fix everything up before they come in. Kind of like if my mom tells me she's about to look in my room, I'll quickly clean it up. But it's like, and they also aren't free. So these inspectors will just come on the ship, expect it, and then ask for, in this case, a $28,000. The price tag depends on the ship, but this ship is one of the biggest ships in the world, so it definitely had some big money on it.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And I am very sorry if I pronounce this wrong, but Juneau,
Juneau.
Alaska cruise port will see 1.5 million passengers this year, a record for Alaska's capital city.
Yeah, the Juneau port is going to be seeing quite a lot of ships and passengers this year. Very cool. To put it in perspective, this is more than half of the amount of passengers Port Canaveral got this year, which is, as of now, the busiest cruise port in the world. So it's going to be quite a busy port this year, and a lot of people are scrambling to do Alaskan voyages because of climate change. Obviously, they just want to see the beautiful area, and yeah, it is going to be really cool to see these cruise ports growing. And on to our next story. American Cruise Lines has christened 2 river ships last week on opposite sides of the country. These 2 river ships are going to be sailing through rivers around the U.S., and they
Yeah.
were both christened.
So American Cruise Lines isn't really like the best cruise line in my opinion. Like when you think of a cruise line, you think of a huge ship, right?
Well, I
So,
guess then it allows
and
people
these
who
things are
don't really
tiny.
want. Well, yeah, but it allows people who don't really want the biggest ship to sail, and also river ships can't be big because they're sailing through skinny rivers.
That is true, but it reminds me of like a really old ship, American Cruise Lines. Like you know those like steamboats? That's kind of like what it reminds me of. It's like, it's just weird. And for our next news, a ship fires shots at the Coast Guard after thinking they are pirates. And it looks like Holden is currently, his camera's not working. So I'll just continue without him for now. There was a new inside look at Icon of the Seas on YouTube. Royal Caribbean vlog video link in description. And that is it for today. Once again, I am Cruise Boss.
I'm Cruising Holden.
Make sure to check out Cruise Central. We are now looking at people for beta, so if you would like to be a beta, just contact me or Holden.
Yep, just fill out the form on the website, link in the description of this stream or on the about page of our channels. And sorry, my house just lost internet.
It's fine.
But
Alright,
once
once again, I am Cruise Boss.
my name's Cruising Holden.
Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next Cruise and Cocoa. Bye!
Bye.